Hello and welcome to lesson 2 of week 4. In this lesson, we are going to look at dates and date methods in JavaScript. My name is Mildred. So JavaScript provides the date object and we use this to work with date and time. It allows us to create, manipulate and format date and times. So when we want to create dates, I have several ways we can do that. Let's say we want to create a date. Let's say let date is equal to new date and a pair of parentheses. This will give us the current date and timestamp. When we say console.log and we say date, we are going to get the current date and time printed to the console. So we have Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, 9:44 Eastern Daylight Time. So it will give you everything with the time zone like that. So this is one way to create a date. Another one is to have a specific date string. For instance, let's say you want to put date of birth and we say is equal to new date, and in a pair of quotes we want to put the date string. So the format is the year hyphen the month hyphen the day, like that. And so when we print this out, it's going to give us the date, but we have date is not defined here. But you see why this is not defined? Let's come back here. So we have the date of birth to print this out here. So when we come here back and we refresh, we have it to give us the date we put, Monday, October 5th, 1999, this GMT Eastern Daylight. Now you see it gave October 4th, 1999, but what we put here was October 5th, 1999. So when we do things like this, it always goes to a specific time, like in GMT. And so because we just specify the date without the time, let's change this and add the time. So the time is like this. If we want to add this, we not put this in quotes, but we come like this. Let's say 2025, we want 9 seconds, and then let's say we want to put the time. And so when we want to put the date, first of all, you know date is from 0 to 11. So the first month, January is 0, December is 11, right? And then when we want to put the time, it is going to be like 24-hour clock. So let's say we want to put this at 2:30 p.m. So we'll say 14:30, so 14:30 0, like this. And so when we print this out, it is going to give us our exact date. We put Thursday, October, so we put Thursday. So this is 2nd of October, 2:30. So when we come back here, we'll see Thursday, October 2nd, 2025, 14:30 GMT -4. If we go back to our previous example of the date of birth and we put 1999 and then we put the date 10 and we put 5, because we put a time here, we are going to get exactly what we put here. I mean 10 is not October, sorry, 10 is November. Month is 0 to 11. So always take note of that. I usually make same mistake. 0 is January, 1 is February, 2 is March. So 10 is not October, 10 is November. Alright, so we get it printed out correctly. But recall that when we did this like this, you want to know this so that when you manipulate dates, you know 1999 and we put 10, go 5, right? Sorry, go 5 and 10. Alright, so when we did this the other time, it printed Monday, October 4th, 1999, and it did this because when we use the string, the date string, it gives you something different from when we want to specify it with a specific year, month, hour, minutes. Okay, the date string works like the correct date 0 to 1 to 12. All right, when you put 12, it's going to be December, but when you're specifying it the other way, it's not the same. So you need to take note of all of this, and you can see it puts our exact date and time this time because we specified it correctly. We can have this 0 base since epoch, like let's say new date 0, and this will give us the epoch time is 1st of January 1970, I think. So let's check our console and we'll see that printed out. So this gives you Wednesday, December 31st, 1969, and it's usually Thursday, January 1st, 1970 is what it usually prints if you do that with Unix epoch. This is giving you in Eastern Standard Time. Alright, so one thing you need to know is that JavaScript is in a browser. It's going to work with your current time zone and whatever you use there. Alright, so this is how all the different ways we specify date. So how do we work with dates? We have several date methods that we can use to manipulate dates. One of such method is we have two categories of method. We have the get methods and the set methods. Now this get methods retrieve part of the date, and the set method we use that to change part of the date. So get method retrieve part, set change part. So let's look at how we can use the get method. Now let's say we get today's current timestamp for today, and let's save this as D, and we want to get console.log D. One of the get method we have is getFullYear. So this will return full year, 4-digit year of the current year for you there. If we use the getMonth, it's going to give you the current month that you have. So getMonth, when you refresh, to tell you the month 9. Okay, 9 is October. Now remember that except when you are using a date string, 0 is January, 11 is December. But if you are using a date string where you have your date in quotes to represent a date string, then it's going to print out exactly 1 January too. So you have to take note of that. All right, so you can do that. You can use the getDay, getHours. Let's say, so we do getDate. So let's say getDate, and then this will return the date for you as the day of the month. All right, if you put getDay, this is where it's confusing. getDate will return the day of the month. getDay now is going to return day of the week. All right, so if I say getDay, give me the day of the week 4, which is Thursday. So 0 for Sunday, 1 for Monday, 2 for Tuesday, 3 for Wednesday, 4 for Thursday. So everything is 0-based counting. All right, so remember, getDate will give you the day of the month. getDay will give you the day of the week. Then if you want to get hours, it will give you the current hour. Get minutes, get seconds, get milliseconds, get time zone offset. It's going to give you all of that. So refer to your lesson resource and you see the different get methods. It is applied the same way like this, and we will use that when we build our apps. We have the set methods that we use to modify dates. All right, if we want to set the full year, we use setFullYear. So have setFullYear, let's say setFullYear, and let's say we want this to be 2030. So setFullYear 2030, and then it's going to give you the printout to be in milliseconds like this. Okay, we want to have setMonth. Let's say we want to set the month of December, which is 11. So let's say 11. So say setMonth. Okay, and so it gives you that printed out. But you can do this outside here and say, instead of printing it out like this to get milliseconds, we can go like this and say d.setFullYear, and I want to change the year to 2025, or want to change the year to 2024, sorry, right? So we can now console.log d to give us the current date, but to change the year to 2024. Now if we want to do that for the month, let's say we want to set month, now put the number that corresponds to the month. So let's say we want it to be January, we'll put 0, and then we'll print this out. It's going to be January. It changes the month. So easy to change parts. So when we just log it into the console, it just gives us the milliseconds since January 1st, 1970. All right, so you have several set methods. You want to refer to your lesson resource to see them, and they're applied in the same way. We have the methods that we use to convert dates to string method. So let's say we have this. Now we can say console.log d.toString like this. Now I will remove this, and then when we refresh on our console, we'll see that change this to a string, convert it to a readable string. We can do this to date string. Let's say to date string like this. When we refresh our page, we have this to a date string like this that gives us only the dates: day, month, day of the week, the month, the day, the year, like that. So you can do it to time string and gives you only the time. So like we did this to date string, so we can say to time string, okay, and this will give you only time, like that. So you want to look at your lesson resource, look at the different conversion methods that you have. You also have static methods of date, where we say, let's say, when I say static methods, I mean you want to just print out something. So let's say console.log. I'm not going to save this in a variable. I'll just say console.log. So static date method is like date.now, something like this. Okay, and this one will return the current timestamp in milliseconds since 1970, like that. So these are like static date method. It doesn't tick, so when you refresh, the date at that time is what you get. When we want to compare dates, we have different ways we can do it. Let's say, for instance, let's say let date 1 be equal to new date, and this will be, let's say, 2025, then and let's have let date 2 be equal to new date, and this will be equal to 2025, let's say 12/25, for instance. Now when we want to compare these two dates, let's say, for instance, we want to see if day 1 is less than day 2, so we can say console.log d1 less than d2, and then we'll see to tell us true or false boolean. So is it true? Yes, d1 is less than d2. October is in the past, December is in the future, like that. And if we want to do, like, we want to get the time out of the date, and we want to see if the time for both are equal, so we can see d1.getTime, let's say .getTime, and we want to see if this is equal to, let's say, equal to d2 .getTime like this. So this should give us false because it is not exactly equal like that. So you can do that for greater than or equal to, less than. Every comparison operator that you have, you can use that. If we want to get like tomorrow's date, for instance, so we'll say let today be equal to new date, right? And we want to say let tomorrow will now be equal to new date. Okay, so we want to get tomorrow's date. So to set tomorrow's date, now we can say tomorrow dot set date, and we'll set this to be today dot get date, right? So we're just setting the day of the week, right? So we'll add 1 to that because it comes numeric. If you go back to what we just did earlier on, we add 1 to that day. So this gives us like 2 plus 1, 3. So it will tell us what tomorrow is 3. And if we try to print this to the console to say we want to print out tomorrow, let's say dot to date string, let's use this method here, and we refresh, we're going to see Friday, October 3rd. You can use this to calculate age from the date of birth. And let's say we want to get the age, you get let today the new date, then you now get age now will now be equal to today.getFullYear minus date of birth.getFullYear. And then when you do that, you want to get the month, today.getMonth minus date of birth.getMonth. And then you want to now use a comparison operator to say if the month now is less than 0 or the month is equal to 0, and today.getDate, when you use the today.getDate is less than the birthdate.getDate, then you want to subtract age minus L, so you want to return the age. So you want to look at the month so that the person doesn't just turn. So if somebody is born in December 2024, in January 2025 the person doesn't just turn 1 year. You want to compare the months. So you can refer to your lesson resource to see how we calculate the age from this. I want you to try that yourself and make sense out of it. It's contained in your lesson resource, and you can also write your date format in different custom styles that you want. It's up to you to look at your lesson resource, play around with the dates, and then see what you can do with it. So in summary, we know that when we use months, they are 0 base, January 0, December 11, except we are working with date string. We have dates automatically adjust value, like setting day 32 move to the next month. We know that already. So if it's 31, it moves depending on the month. We have the time zone will affect the output. So what you will get when you do your examples in your console is different from what you see in the video. And if we want to change or want to have standardized API communication, so this is very important. Whenever you're building APIs, you want to use to ISO string and method. So refer to your lesson resource and you see all of this. Thank you, and see you in the next lesson.